graders, math book, pencil, and definitely a good day to have an eraser so that if you make a line that you feel like it's a little off and you want to fix it, make it better, it's easy to do that. All right, lesson 12.8, equal or unequal parts. Now, guys, this is a pretty easy one today, but it's an important one for getting our mind set for something that you hear parents and older students talk about all the time, which is fractions. I love fractions. Oh my goodness, they were some of my favorite things. My mom used to teach me fractions a lot when we were cooking together. So fractions are awesome, but the thing about fractions is, whoops, oh my goodness, you have to have equal parts. So it's really important to go ahead and, not skip over today's lesson because it's simple, but, to get set for fractions, it's really important to have in our brain the idea of equal parts. So this is a really important lesson, even though it's fairly easy. All right, draw to show the parts. So 2 triangles. Remember, they don't have to be shaped like that triangle. So we did this some yesterday, right? There we go. Now, 3 triangles, take a minute on that one and think about it. If I'm going to go ahead and do this with pencil so that you can see. What if I do a triangle like this? Then what can I do? You guys figured some out? So here's the challenge. There's not a way to make a square into 3 equal triangles. So do you see here, now we're pretending with all of these when we're drawing and thinking about equal and unequal, we're pretending our lines are going in exactly the right spot. Technically, these are not exactly equal to each other, are they? Because my line did not go straight through the middle. But we're imagining with this lesson that when we draw our lines and we want them to go straight through the middle, they actually do go straight through the middle. My fingers don't always do that. But you can tell here definitely these could be equal, couldn't they? But right here, we cannot make 3 equal triangles. So this lesson is all about thinking not just of these shapes, but about these shapes in equal parts. So you can see that right up here. Look, 2 parts, and we have equal parts or equal shares, people will often say. Unequal parts or unequal shares. Can you see 2 parts, but they're not equal to each other? How can you describe equal shares? Now, I want to tell you one of the things that they often will do exercises with children to discover for sure whether something is equal shares is to see if you could put it straight on top of each other and have it cover. Do you remember with the pattern blocks, how we were doing some of that? We might take the parallelogram here, this blue rhombus, and put 2 of the triangles on top of it, and they would completely cover it. So if something's equal, you could put this one on top of this one, and it would completely cover it, wouldn't it? Look down here, 1, 2, 3, 4 equal shares, and each of them, if you stack them up, they would stack exactly in the space of one of them, wouldn't they? But right here, we have 2 equal here and 2 equal here, but we don't have 4 equal shares. The whole shape is not separated and divided into equal shares. So this is not too tricky. The thing is to think, are the parts the same size? Identical to each other. So is it, for number 1 of these is equal shares, one is not. One of these is equal shares, one is not. Same thing here. This is not too tricky to see, is it? Now take a good look at this one, because this kind of one would tempt people a lot. And they would say, well, look, these are all spaced out evenly. And that is true. They are all spaced out evenly. And these match each other, and these match each other. But remember, the question is, if I stack them on top of each other, will they be exactly the same? And you could stack this one on top of this one, and then take those 2 and put it on top of this one, and take those 3 and put it on the top of that one, couldn't you? If we had scissors, we could cut that out and cut these and stack them all exactly, couldn't we? But if we took scissors and we cut this out and we cut on the lines, this one here doesn't stack exactly on that one, does it? So these may be even, but they're not equal. We want to be sure we're careful about exactly equal parts. All right. Now here you're flipping to the other one, right? Unequal shares now. So there's 1 in number 7 that's unequal shares. In number 8, there are 2 that show unequal shares to circle. Now for 9 and 10, they're switching this back and forth on you guys. 9 and 10, we're going back to equal shares. So for number 9, there are 3 equal share shapes to circle. For number 10, there are 2, because again, we want to think about being able to stack this diagonal line across this square. We could take this and flip it over and stack it right on top of that one, couldn't we? Here we have a diagonal line again, and we could take this whole half and stack it over on that half. But this little piece right here, if we stacked it on top of this one, it would not completely cover, would it? So that one does not show equal shares. All right, guys, this one, remember yesterday how you had that trick square thing? 1 square, 2 squares, 3, 4, 5 squares. We're not doing that today. So today we're just looking at equal shares. How many equal shares here? Write it down there. How many is this one divided into? And write it down right there. Last page. 2 equal parts. We've done that lots of ways, right? 2 unequal parts. Unequal is pretty easy to get, isn't it? 4 equal shares. There's only one way to do this. All right. With number 13 and number 14, you could answer lots of different things and have it be correct. But number 15, there's only one correct way to do it. Unequal. Unequal is easy, right? And there are all sorts of ways you could draw that to have 4 unequal shares. All right, which one shows equal shares? Remember, it means you could stack all the parts, each one of the shares. This one here could be a little tricky because if you folded it up this way, that would be equal halves, wouldn't it? Or if you took it and you folded the triangle over on top of the triangle, you'd have equal halves. But remember, we're looking at each little piece. So if we take this piece here and lay it on top of this piece here, are those equal? So there is really only one right answer to number 17. Choose it, then take a picture of this page and send it to me.